Welcome in. It's the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. It is the first episode, post-football edition here, and we have a welcoming back of sorts after 2 weeks off. The guy gets engaged and thinks he can just
Big words.
hiatus.
Yeah, hiatus. I don't know, same thing. It's spelled the same.
No, it's not.
It
Gray
totally
jacket,
spelled
gold
the same.
jacket. Who gives a shit?
Grant Dillon.
He was
same
the one.
person?
Ethan was the one calling me stupid.
Well,
Just
you are.
before we
Shut up,
started
Dirty Dan.
recording here.
Shut up, Dirty Dan.
Unbelievable. But like we said, Ethan is engaged. Congratulations. Now,
Yeah, she didn't say no. She said sure. Let's go.
she didn't say no, so
But she also didn't say yes. She said
She didn't.
sure.
I told her tonight I'm going to
So-
say that at the wedding. I'm going to say sure instead of I
do
do.
you take Hannah to be your lawfully wedded wife? Sure.
sure.
I'm like, Grant's going to die at the
I
altar.
guess.
Was this his idea? Was this his
Grant's
idea?
gonna turn around and face the other way.
So, Ethan, are you gonna be when you get at the wedding when it's time for your vows? Are you just gonna have the
Oh, we're just going
Um,
standard. We're not writing our own vows. No.
No, so like it's not going to be like where you have to repeat after what the preacher says. Like, I, Ethan, take thee, Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
or is he just going to say through?
I'll totally F it up.
Is he going to say just the whole thing and then you just say, sure?
I might.
Okay.
We'll see what
We don't wanna-
likes that.
Ethan, Hannah's a big Friends fan, so you can throw the whole service for a curveball and say the wrong thing.
I could. Never know.
Hypothetically speaking, I know one name we shouldn't use.
No.
we won't bring up that name either. But so Ethan, now let's walk us through this. How did you do it? Was she surprised, or did she expect that this was coming
Well,
the day
so
of?
we shopped together for the ring, everything like that. So she knew it was coming. She wasn't sure when, except when she basically cornered me with a knife in the apartment and forced me to tell her in a 3-week stretch when it was going to be. She didn't actually force me with a knife, but she might as well have. So she had an idea of when it was going to happen. I actually thought I played it off pretty well. She thought it was going to happen the day of, but then so I used the nanny kids. I don't know if I told you that or not, but I used the nanny kids, and basically I got like a birthday present bag, and the mom put the ring box in there. Mom gave it to kids. Me and Grant were in the basement, just hanging out for about 30 minutes, just waiting for Hannah to get there. The one time she's actually on time, not early, at their house. So we're just hanging out down in the basement, and then Hannah walks in. Kids give her said birthday present, because this was the Saturday after her birthday, saying they forgot to give her one. And she sees the ring box, she opens it, and it says turn around, and then I walk around, and I'm right there. But what threw her off was Lissa and Josh told her they had a dinner for Josh's work. So Lissa's holding up different clothing options when Hannah walks in, saying like, does this look better? Does this look better? So it completely threw her off, and she didn't think it was going to happen. And then bam, happens. We eat pizza. We have some champagne. And that was kind of it.
All right. Okay.
Pizza was good.
Pizza was good. Where'd you guys get it from?
Papa John's, I think.
That sounds right.
I think it was Papa John's. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, because Papa Murphy's doesn't deliver.
My wedding videographer Grant with the video there. It was well done.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I saw the video. He didn't screw it up.
He did
It was
not.
very exciting. So, did
Dylan,
did she like the ring? The ring
Dylan,
was
can I-
good. It was all.
Yes. So she actually knew kind of what the ring looked like, but she picked the diamond out, and I actually picked the band out. So I got the bigger part.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, you go.
I got that. I found it. The one we saw we went to Shane Company, had just a rose gold. They didn't have like a yellow gold like what she wanted. So we asked if they had it. They had one left in the entire company, and how Shane Company works is basically once that model or that design is done, they don't make it again. So there was one left in the entire company, and it was an organ. So we actually got it shipped. to Minneapolis, verified we liked it, and then we're able to go forward with it.
Okay.
So
All
we got
right. And
pretty
Grant,
lucky.
you
Literally
had
the
the
only ring left.
wow, you got the last one. Now
We did.
you could, yeah. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. You could sell it for a lot of money since it's the only one left, because then that would go down a road that we don't want to go down. So I will stop talking here because Grant, you said you wanted to talk.
So it's funny. Ethan mentioned I was his videographer. That week before, like the 3 days before, Dylan, I saw a video on the TV of some friend getting a video of his getting the video of his friend proposing to his girlfriend at the time. But this guy looks over to his right and he sees this baby raccoon sneak up on him. So naturally he gets distracted and videotapes the raccoon. Well, when he
That's right,
turns
you were
back
saying
over
that.
to the engagement, he misses everything and they're already hugging and it was an absolute disaster. And then by the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Grant, you got to be focused. Focused here. You cannot mess this up on Saturday. Well, the next day, Ethan sends me that same video on Instagram, and he goes, don't mess this up, buddy.
Good thing there were no raccoons around.
There was no baby raccoons around, because I'm not going to
I wouldn't
lie.
blame you if you went for the raccoon anyway. Because
The raccoon probably would have won the video.
They're an interesting creature. You don't see them very often unless they're attacking your dog. So that would
which has
probably been
happened
the
to
last
me.
time
Actually,
yeah, I know.
No. Raleigh was attacking raccoon. It was not the other way around.
Yes, sorry. The stupid dog I live decided to attack a raccoon, and the raccoon had the high ground at 2 a.m. Advantage, raccoon.
But I've also seen the video. The other good thing that Ethan didn't do is have it while he was surrounded by water. Where have you ever seen the video where the guy, he's proposing to his fiance and he was having his buddy throw the ring to him. He overshoots it and goes into the water, and the future husband had to dive in to try and find it.
Did he find it?
I don't know. That's when the video cut out.
Oh boy, we need an update there.
Hopefully that it wasn't far enough down to where he was able to find it. But then, and if he did it makes for a hell of a story, if you ask me.
Yeah,
It does.
As long as the ring's not ruined, they're fine.
The man who threw it could be in hot water the rest of his life, or it could be, let's just laugh it off and pretend this never happened.
To be honest with you, the groom can't get mad because it was his stupid idea in the first place. So
that is true.
That is also true. Hopefully he had insurance.
Yeah, I got that insured before she got it because we all know Hannah forgets things. So
it's all right. We all do.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Do you guys have a date set yet for the wedding?
Not officially, but we want November 1st, 2025.
November 1st, 2025. Okay.
We have our first wedding venue tour on Friday, another one Sunday, and I think one the following weekend, if I'm right, next Friday.
Mike.
Oh.
So we only have 3 set up right now. 3 set up currently. Hopefully we can pick out of those 3 because those 3 are our favorite.
Well, you know what's crazy, guys? That'll be here before we know it.
It will be.
Yeah.
Because this November will be here before we know it. And then after that, you just count down to a year, and it's like every single year from now it seems like now it goes faster and faster. So that'll be here before we know it, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It will. Will it be in the city somewhere then, I'm guessing?
Yes, our locations are either Eden Prairie, Northfield, where her parents are, or White Bear Lake, just kind of in the northeast suburbs up there.
Okay.
So those are the options right now.
So potentially Cake Eater. We'll see.
Yeah,
I hope
we're definitely Cake Eater. Yeah.
I hope it is because that's just who Ethan is. He's better than us, and he's not afraid to admit it.
As he drinks wine with his pinky up.
Say that. It's not like we're putting $15,000 down on a venue, so like that's the good news.
Well, because Ethan, remember, I told you about Chankaska there in Mankato because I figured, hey, that would be up your alley. That's $10,000 to start.
Minimum. I think it was actually
minimum.
15. Yeah.
I mean, I was just told this weekend. Wes told me that as of right now, it's $10,000 to start, which is outrageous.
I think it was even higher than that when I saw it. Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, that's an awesome place, but 10
One of them
G's
is
to
a
start?
winery, though, or a vineyard. One of them that we're looking at. The one we're going to on Sunday is a vineyard.
I mean, I can't say anything because it's not my day.
That's all right.
Yeah,
It's not
and
mine.
Grant, it's for special occasions you have to drink wine. That's how this works. So it's perfect. It's right there for you.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So-
I cannot argue these statements.
No. I did get Grant to drink wine out at the winery we're members at, though, so.
I do have a video of. I do have a picture of that.
I
Yep.
can confirm.
Yeah.
And
You had
I
a
think I
bonfire,
told.
right?
Yes.
I think so. I have that actually right now. I'm drinking it currently.
And
It's a
I
good
can
one.
confirm it was not terrible.
Nice. We got a little gift from one of Hannah's nanny families. He got me some Woodford Reserve today, so I might be making some old fashions later.
Hey, there it
is. There it is.
Big wine guy Grant.
Yeah.
Big wine guy over here.
It was only a matter of time, not if, I converted him to a wine drinker.
Now I just need a cigarette and a baguette, and I can call myself a Frenchman.
Yeah. Well, Grant, this Iowa State-Houston game is starting just like I told you it probably would, 61-55. It is 5-2 at the first media.
Excellent. I'm excited. I'm excited to catch the second half.
This is high-quality basketball right here. This is actually good shit.
Well,
You see, for some reason, guys, I almost enjoy a defensive game like this in college
Absolutely.
more than a shootout in college. I don't know why.
It's just the intensity is so much better.
yeah. Well, something that there was not a lot of defense was the NBA All-Star game. Did you guys watch any of that?
Oh, no, God, no. I saw Cat scored 50, and that's only because I saw it on Instagram. I would never turn that on.
I'm not gonna. When I was laying down to go to bed last night, I turned it on as background noise, and I think I fell asleep within 2 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
watched maybe halfway through the first quarter, and the best way I would describe this is when you guys you're playing a pickup game at wherever you choose at the YMCA, LA Fitness, wherever you choose to play pickup games. It looked like guys just shooting around before the game actually starts, where they're just shooting. There's no contest. At least when we were growing up, the All-Star game, it still mattered to some extent, where guys would actually play hard, and especially in the fourth quarter, where it would become an actual game, where that was just abysmal.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. When we were growing up, NBA All-Star Weekend was one of my favorite sports weekends of the year.
They
That's
had
when
the
the dunk
three-point
contest,
competition, the dunk
three-point
contest,
competition,
the
the
skills
dunk contest,
competition.
skills.
Who even won the dunk contest?
Some
Jaylen
white
Brown.
guy.
Who? I
Some
thought it
white
was
guy.
Jaylen Brown.
No, it was some white guy. I think he plays for Orlando's G League team. He's won it 2 years in a row now.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh, he won again. See, I didn't even see any of the dunks, so it just shows how shitty they were.
I saw one highlight. He dunked over Shaq. He jumped over Shaq, and put it behind his back. I mean, it looked cool, but
They were all
Yeah,
talking,
Mac
he's going to do
McClung.
something never seen before, and I'm like, okay.
yeah, exactly.
It was didn't he win by dunking over a YouTuber or something?
I very well could be. I
the
don't
guy was
know.
sitting in a chair. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. Like I said,
And then did you see Jaylen Brown's comments after about how that Adam Silver's changes was how you have to play 65 games, and he said it should be less, that they should play less. You are paid to play basketball, and you want to I get that. That's exactly why the NBA is a joke. That's why Adam Silver sucks, and the worst commissioner in pro sports that nobody wants to talk about. But these NBA players are so out of touch that they don't understand that what pays their salaries, and there's a reason why it's the viewers and ratings keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping, is because they have the attitude that they're better than us. And back when Jordan was playing, he appreciated. He talked about how he knew going to every game that the last that there was somebody that was going to go see him for the first time and was never going to see him again. And he felt that if they're paying money and investing in him, he wanted to give them the best performance that he could.
Let's call a spade a spade. The NBA has gone downhill ever since Kobe Bryant retired. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But once Kobe left, we had that awesome finals that year. It's gotten worse and worse and worse every single season.
It's getting to the point where we shouldn't even play it, just like the NFL doesn't play an actual football game.
100%.
Just do different skill challenges, just like they do.
It's either that or they do what MLB did and make it to where it's winner gets home court for the finals.
Well, didn't MLB change that to where now it's the best regular season record?
But they still actually try.
Yeah. In the MLB, it wasn't about that. It was just basically because they had a tie and they overreacted.
Oh, yeah.
True.
But that's how they have to do it is like, I think the only way to save it is if you put something on the line.
Or like the in-season tournament, instead of making it $60,000, make it where they get 500 G's.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't need the in-season tournament either. That's the other thing.
That's made the Lakers season. It's fine because they fucking suck.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing the reason why the Lakers are relevant this year is because
that crap.
They won the in-season tournament.
Get out.
Well, no, you guys, the in-season tournament's a big deal because Nick Wright said that, it'll be cool in 20 years from now when people can say, they won the in-season tournament. Let's go look who was on that team.
I hate Nick Wright so much.
Hey, he's one of you, Grant.
I know he's not. No, he's not. Yeah? You know what? You want to know why he's not? Because he started in Fox in 2015 when Cowherd was on, and he started making his guest appearances. I never heard him mention the Chiefs once. Not until Pat Mahomes was there.
Interesting.
In 2018. Don't tell me you're one of me. If the way he talks about and will defend Pat Mahomes, where was that in 2015 defending those teams with Alex Smith?
Well, he talked about it on the Herd how he when they drafted Mahomes, how he tweeted something. I don't know what he tweeted, but he wasn't happy about it. I remember when when the Chiefs traded Marcus Peters, he about threw his coffee mug across the table. He was so mad and basically was saying how the Chiefs ownership is the worst in the NFL. So
jokes on him, but he started talking about them in 2018. So give me a break, Nick Wright.
And he's been and most of the time he's too busy because he's got LeBron's dick so far down his throat he almost pukes on it. So
it's bad.
He has just some awful takes. Like I don't know if he skipped Bayless bad, but man, it's rough.
I mean, it's getting close because he's now the voice of FS1, and nobody watches FS1 anymore.
No,
it's the Herd. I watch the Herd, and that's it.
Dude, I can't even hardly watch the Herd these days. It's
even Colin has just terrible takes now. Sometimes
he's terrible takes. It's not what it used to be, man. I tell you what, if I want to watch sports television for football, I'm watching Good Morning Football on NFL Network. Nothing can compete with that.
And us.
God, Colin Cowherd had a take the other day that was so bad. I was like,
I bet you I know what you're talking about, Ethan. He said that Washington was going to win the NFC East next year. That's what it was.
No, that's just ridiculous. But it was something.
That's a bad one too.
I might just scroll back and see if I can find it. We can obviously keep going, but
then also, without question, Pat McAfee has taken over sports radio, and he is the guy.
And I don't even like that as much anymore. Sometimes it can be just too much. I don't listen to it as much as I used to either.
I will say this though, sports media is gotten awful. It's almost unwatchable now these days and unlistenable.
That's because they're all too focused about being buddy with the players, and they don't want to step on their toes or hurt their feelings. They're too afraid to criticize anybody because they're worried about athletes getting offended. So, but I guess that's a good way to transition here is that somebody that or a team that didn't do that, and it is a tremendous documentary that's got 2 episodes out right now on Apple TV. It's called Dynasty. It's about the rise and fall of the New England Patriots dynasty. Episode 1 and 2 are out now. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be recapping episode 1 and episode 2 here of Dynasty. And Ethan, have you found said take yet?
I have not. So just keep going. I want to say there's something about the Timberwolves.
Oh, he did talk about the Timberwolves. I'm trying to think. I can't remember what I was listening to.
2-6, some guy on his show said from the stars all the way down the roster, these guys are so locked in, talking about the Clippers. And then I think it was like the next day or a couple days later, the T-Wolves went in there and just beat the living shit out of them.
They did do that. I think it was something about how they aren't deep enough and they don't have enough depth or something. No, because he's not a big depth guy. But yeah,
no, when it comes to NBA,
the fucking league.
He's all about stars.
No offense, Ant's the future. He can go fuck off.
Ethan's Ethan's spicy, coming back spicy this episode. Well, I think we're already up to like 4 or 5 F-bombs on this one.
The
this
T-Wolves
episode
are
right now.
so easily the best team in the West. It's not even. I don't even think it's up for debate. They have it's like 20 and like 10 record versus like teams with winning records in the West. Like by far the most wins versus 500 teams or better. And then the next like 3 teams below them, I think they've only lost like 4 times. So, and I think 2 of those are to the Thunder.
2 of them are to the Thunder.
They have just been absolutely dominant. I don't know if you guys saw my post I had on my story talking about the Wolves. They're like the first team. Like 780 teams have been.
I did see this
on the road. I don't know if you saw this or not, but it's like there's like 787 teams in NBA history have played 2 teams on the road that are 20 plus games over 500.
Oh yeah, you sent that to us.
The T-Wolves are the only team to have beaten them both by 20 plus. Like that doesn't, and they should have beat Chicago before that too, before Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So like they're so good.
Was that the back-to-back, right? One night in Chicago, the next night in Milwaukee?
Yes, the next was in Milwaukee, and they just beat the living hell out of them.
You know what's crazy?
Was full strength Dame in Giannis.
And was that with Doc or no, before Doc but post Adam Griffith?
That was Doc. I believe that was Doc. That was like Doc, last week. Yeah, that wasn't that long.
You're right. Yeah, it was only like last Tuesday or something like that.
I can't find it. Maybe it's not on here, but man, it was just stupid.
But no, if you think about it, that Chicago-Milwaukee trip, we should have beat the Bulls and lost to the Bucks. We did that backwards.
Man, they beat the hell out of the Bucks. Like they dominate.
But yeah, and well, before you know, we'll be talking. They did not beat the Magic. That's right, they didn't.
they beat the hell out of them down in Orlando.
They did.
Well, they blew the game up here.
Yeah, I was kind of following it on my phone, and
they had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, an 8-point lead, and they gave it away, and they lost by 8 or 10.
I think I was at a high school basketball game, and I was getting notifications on my phone, and I was like, saw they were down 10, and I look, my phone buzzes again, and it's the final, and it was they won by 5 or so. I was like, oh no shit, huh? Sweet.
Yeah, the Wolves decided to not play defense in the fourth quarter.
They've done that a couple times.
That'll lose you some games.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to episode 1 here of Dynasty, and it was very evident. The first one of the probably one of the lines I remember the most is when they're interviewing Bill Burr, and he said that the Patriots were so bad that he wanted to forget about being a Patriots fan. That's how bad it was. Talking about the passion that Boston sports fans have, and there wasn't a whole lot. Realistically, that like I don't remember know about you guys, but the Patriots pre Tom Brady, they had Drew Bledsoe and nothing after that. They played for the Super Bowl in 94, I believe, or 90.
It was 96.
96, yeah. Yeah. And they lost to the Packers. But outside of that, they were kind of on that. They were 5-11 the year before 2001, but and there was kind of some question marks. Nobody really knew what was going to happen. Bill Belichick he was in his second year. He was a failed coach in Cleveland, and they start out the year 0-2, and their franchise quarterback, who they gave a 10-year contract to, was going to be out. He had internal bleeding. It was extremely bad. I forgot about how bad it was, but
that
like
was my take as well. I had no idea like it was that severe. I thought it was just a bad concussion. Like, he's lucky to be alive.
So guys, like, I knew like he had a punctured lung or a collapsed lung. I think I knew that, but I didn't know he was cut an artery open and there was blood gushing into his lungs.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I was like,
I didn't
oh
either.
my God, that's awful.
Nuts.
And the one thing I do remember about that was how loud that hit was that he took on the sideline. Like they played it back, and it was crunch. It was bone crunching. How loud that hit was.
I mean, that had to be like what it would be like to get hit by a car at going 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. And I remember Brady saying that his face mask was like dented in.
No, 5 minutes ago, Justin Fields doesn't follow the Bears on Instagram anymore.
It's happening.
Oh,
it's happening.
5 minutes ago.
It's happening.
Caleb Williams, you are a Bear.
It's happening. He's going to Pittsburgh. I'm calling
It's done.
Not Atlanta. He's going to Pittsburgh.
It's done.
It's gonna be a Steeler, but he had blood leaking into his lungs, and it was unknown. There was some guy, a second-year quarterback out of Michigan named Brady, that nobody other than outside of the New England Patriots front office, nobody really knew anything about the guy. It was funny when they were interviewing Drew Bledsoe about it, and they talked about the pranks they would pull on Tom about how they would put something where you would have purple feet.
Oh yeah, like when you sweat.
That was awesome.
Your socks become purple. That was hilarious.
The FBI died.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'd be so pissed.
Well, and that was before everybody wore. Now everybody wears black socks, so it's like, it don't mean anything. But in 2000, everyone's wearing white socks and white socks only. And Tom overpaid for Ty Law's house, so it's not like he can afford a pair of socks.
That's that guy. I don't even fucking shit.
I love how Ty Law now, I think he's the first ballot Hall of Famer, goes, Tom Brady owes me $150,000.
Nah, he's full of shit. I don't owe him shit. He overcharged me for that house. And
incredible.
The guy he was living with, who was a guy he played against at Purdue, whose name is escaping me, but Tom went to a pawn shop and bought a Super Nintendo, and they would play Tecmo Bowl. And all the Patriots, that what they saw in practice, they saw he was a very competitive guy. There wasn't the talent; they weren't quite sure, but they knew that he was a competitive guy. And it goes back to Tecmo Bowl that he'd play with his roommate. How anytime he would lose, he would put dents in the walls. How angry he would get.
Even like he knew he could hit the floor, and the floorboards would shake so much it would reset the console. So right before he knew he was about to lose, and in the winter would have to run a mile naked around the neighborhood, would smash his foot on the floor to reset the game, just so he wouldn't lose. Incredible.
What did Hannah say?
Chestnut checkers.
That's ridiculous. Like, that's not okay. And I'm like, I'm not endorsing it, but that's also why he's the best ever.
Yeah.
Like that drive, that attitude is literally what made him what he is.
And to kind of make fun of us here, we're never going to date a supermodel because we don't have that in us.
No.
Well, I get fairly mad when I play video games, but my mom would never let me. And maybe if she would have let me do that, who knows? Maybe I would be in the NFL right now. I guess we'll never know because she never let me get mad while playing video games. I just had to get She would just come down, turn it off, and I'd be done for a week.
Nice job, Jolene. You could have.
I remember
Yeah.
me and Cody and his we would play NCAA, and I remember one time he like held it for like the final like fourth quarter, and then went and kicked a field goal, and I was just fucking pissed. I was like, "Who the f does that? Like, who kicks a field goal?" And I like stormed out of there and like walked back to my dorm, and I was just like, I didn't throw anything, but I was that close.
Oh, that's funny.
But even Drew Bledsoe said, he's like, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't worried about him at all. Like he had nothing, and Brady's attitude was he just wanted to try and get better every week. He was the only one that believed that he was even gonna make the team.
Well, because he started out as a fourth stringer.
Yeah, and he just moved up the ladder, and and Brady, his approach is he wasn't going to take anything to chance. At that point nobody knew when Drew was coming back. Everybody kind of already wrote the Patriots off because I don't think many people thought they were going to be very good. They knew the defense was going to be good. And when Willie McGinnis was on there, talked about how the defense was the one running the team. And Belichick's saying was, you're in for this week, and we're going to see after that. And Tom just said, and he was telling people on the team that he's not giving this job back. And when the time came that Drew was finally healthy, he was cleared to practice, cleared to play, there was a lot of talk in the New England locker room about who's going to be starting. And Bill decided he was going to go with the hot hand, go with Tom Brady. And Robert Kraft felt terrible about it. Drew actually went to go talk to Bill or to Robert about it. And, Robert referred to Drew as like his fifth son. Gave him that huge 10-year contract. They were very close. And in the end, Robert trusted Bill to go with Brady because it wasn't going to be good that if put anybody in a good spot, because if Robert went down to Bill and told him that you need to start Drew, we gave him a 10-year contract. He's our franchise quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And then Bill gives into it and says, and Drew doesn't play well, that could be costing Bill his job because he was doing what the owner told him and it bit him in the ass.
And Bill to Kraft for not sticking his nose in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill make the decision and kind of go off on his own. Like, good for him. Most owners
and Bill also. And I didn't even think about this until they brought this up too. Is that Bill went through something similar with this in Cleveland when he had Bernie Kosar as his starting quarterback. And when you look at both Kosar and Bledsoe's careers, they had very similar paths where they were beloved in Cleveland and in New England. And they were tremendous players when they were healthy, but in both instances, they both got beat up really bad because they couldn't protect the way they played, and their injuries finally caught up to them, and they just weren't the same after those injuries. And the difference is that in New England, Bill Belichick had Tom Brady waiting in the wings, who just took well, we all know how that story ended.
But what's crazy is him and Pioli, Belichick and Pioli, knew they messed up in Cleveland because they didn't have a backup plan. Bill literally put all his chips in the middle of the table on this Brady guy who, like you said, Dylan, second-year player. The year before was throwing interceptions all the time on the practice squad and was not a good quarterback. From another book I've read about Michael Hawley, the Boston Globe columnist or Boston Herald columnist? He's in here too.
Bob Ryan?
No, it wasn't Bob Ryan. It was Michael Hawley. He's
okay.
He's the black writer with the glasses.
Okay. Yep, I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about
he
now.
wrote a book about that, and Brady's rookie year was a disaster. It was not good. And for Belichick to see something in him and just kind of go all in and go over the unpopular route, go against the owner, but tell the owner, hey, trust me, I'm the football guy. Let the football people make football decisions, and the rest is history. I mean, so when Tom says he owes a majority of his career to Coach Belichick, it's 100% true because he said, all right, Tom, we're going in together or we're going out together in 2002 when this thing doesn't work. And
Yeah.
boy, did it work.
Yeah, and that's about where episode 1 ends. Is that, and then go into episode 2 here. It starts with them talking to Tom and his family, what Tom went through on draft day, and he's documented it before how he thought he could go anywhere from the third. He thought he was going to be a third or a fourth round pick, and quarterbacks kept getting picked in front of him, and he remembered going for a walk and with a bat and hitting the bat in his hand because he was so frustrated that he wasn't getting picked. Ends up getting picked by the Patriots in the 6th round. And when on his introductory press conference or whenever they bring in all the draft picks, he goes up to Robert Kraft, introduces himself, and Robert says that, I know who you are. You're our 6th round pick, our quarterback from Michigan. And he just said that, I wanted to let you know that I'm the best decision this organization has ever made. And at this point, nobody knew who he was. Robert Kraft was taken aback by this. Is like, who is this 6th round guy telling me that I'm the best? He's the best decision this organization has ever made. And I think the biggest takeaway from episode 2 is how Tom ingratiated himself into the locker room, where he was one of the guys. He would go out and drink with the offensive linemen. He would go do beer chugging contests with them, mix in a water here and there so he could keep up with them. And talking about how much work he put in. And Bill Belichick talked about how he challenged Bill because Tom was so well prepared that Bill had to be prepared for any questions Tom would have that Bill might not have prepared for.
One thing I loved about Tom and just his confidence that he had in himself was when he was to dinner with Lawyer Malloy and Ty Law, and he looks at the 2 veteran leaders of that secondary, and he goes, hey guys, I'm not going to give the starting job up. This is my job to have. And then Lawyer and Ty kind of look at each other like, okay, get it, young man, get it. But deep down inside, they're like, is this dude crazy? Like, what is he talking about? This is Bill's team. He's not even going to get a shot. But hey, good for him for having the confidence to go out there and try to make a place.
Yeah, and the other part that they talked about was how from his rookie year to that point is how Brady was kept ascending and going, like, improving each week, where Bledsoe more so just kind of was flatlining and plateaued. And in the end, that was ultimately why they ended up going with Brady, is because they felt that he had the higher upside. And one of Belichick's that he was best known for is knowing when to cut bait with somebody, and maybe did it a year or two too early. But going with Brady, it felt like there was a little more juice with the team. Guys seemed to rally around him. It was never said, but it almost kind of implied like Drew had the attitude that since he was the quarterback, he didn't have to partake in everything. He didn't have to go to the dinners, the meetings, or those team building events, where Tom really understood that that football, it was a relationship business, and what they did, the trust they developed off the field developed into trust on the field. And, Grant, like you were talking about when he was at dinner with Lawyer Malloy and Ty Law, he said he's not giving this job back. And they thought he was crazy, but they could tell. I think they sensed that they believed him that he's going to make sure he's not giving that job back, and if he fails, it's just because he didn't have that skill level. He was what he was.
Did you guys notice Gus Johnson was the one that called the very first game he went in?
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
know.
then
He's
right
big
away.
Ian Eagle called his the walk off versus the Colts, basically. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine being from right there calling Tom Brady to where he went? Like,
Yeah.
that would just be the most incredible thing to see that ascend and just be there for like almost every week or how many games throughout each season. Like, that would just be absolutely unbelievable.
Well, and then like even on that same note, like where Gus Johnson and Ian Eagle are now, like Gus Johnson's everyone's favorite play-by-play guy in college football, and Ian Eagle is now going to do his first Final Four here in 7 weeks,
Yeah.
and
his son's doing NBC.
His son
and
did so good in the Michigan State Minnesota basketball game on Peacock.
How
Phenomenal.
good is him and Blackledge? They were the best team in college football this year.
Yeah.
And they did two
I would
NFL
agree.
games. They did 2 NFL games this year, man, and they were incredible.
Absolutely.
But yeah, exactly to your point, Ethan. Like Gus Johnson, he's getting his career started, and then 20 years later, he's where he is, and now Tom is known as just Brady.
Yeah.
Like when you can walk across in life and people know you as one name, that's when you know you've made it.
Yeah.
When you have one name, it's like you're just special, man. But no, Dylan, I agree. I'm with you. Bledsoe had that sense of arrogance and smugness that, hey, this is my team. I'm in bed with the owner. I can do whatever I want and get whatever I want. And Tom had that blue-collar workers mentality that he developed, I'm guessing, at the University of Michigan under Lloyd Carr. Because people forget, at Michigan, he had to compete to get the starting job, I think, his junior and senior year. He wasn't even...
He had to alternate his senior year because it was Drew Henson was the popular guy. He was the in-state kid, like one of the top recruits in the country, and had a bad game against Michigan State, got benched, and Tom never gave that job back. But Grant, you talked about how it being Drew Bledsoe's team and Adam Vinatieri, and I think that this might actually be the best way to summarize episode 2 is Adam Vinatieri talking about with Tom, it didn't feel like it was Bill's team. It didn't feel like it was Tom's team. It didn't feel like it was Robert Kraft's team, even though he was the one signing our checks.
Owning the team.
It felt like it was our team.
And that Super Bowl against St. Louis, I know they haven't got this far in the documentary yet, is a perfect example of that. I think St. Louis came out and introduced their starting offense. New England came out that year as a team, as one. It was perfect that same year after the September 11th attack. The Super Bowl's in New Orleans. It's a red, white, and blue logo. The Patriots are in there. The Minutemen who founded this country. It was the perfect representation of a team. And I don't think we'll ever see that ever again in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think actually that's what started, because now you see they don't do starters anymore. Everybody, both of them come out as a team now. So that might have been started from when the Patriots did that. So episode 1 and 2, episode 3 and 4, we'll be recapping next week.
Also, Dylan, real quick, one thing. What's crazy is, and I'm surprised no one in the media has talked about this for this last 25-year run that the Patriots had, was we might not have seen Tom Brady there's no doubt in my mind that Tom was eventually going to play and he was going to take over Bledsoe's job. But hear me out. If it wasn't for the September 11th attack and the NFL doesn't have to postpone those games another week, the ultimate hypothetical card is this. Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. He keeps playing. Maybe Tom doesn't come in until week 6 or 7 or 8 and the season's already gone and passed by, and they don't get that first Super Bowl, and they don't have the mojo, and they don't go all in on him, maybe this dynasty doesn't happen. It's something weird to say, but them
Smallest-
pushing that game back a week changed NFL history forever. Had that not happened, had those attacks not happened, the Pittsburgh Steelers might be the team of the 2000s.
Yeah.
It's just
could be.
it's kind of crazy to think about, but how those attacks and how the NFL had to cancel football because everyone's mind was on New York and all those poor people. Then Bledsoe gets hurt the week after. You just don't know what could have happened had that not happened, which is just crazy to think.
Yeah. And yeah, episode 3 and 4 are out this Friday. Go watch episode 1 and 2 if you haven't already. It's incredible. Excited to see I think they're dropping 2 episodes every week for the next about month and a half or so, it looks like. So
Dylan, I got to say
what we
this.
got?
This part of the Patriots dynasty was the least entertaining, if you ask me. Like,
Yeah.
once we get really going down the road, like Ethan and I talked to the phone earlier today, then it's going to get real good. Then you get
downfall
into
is going to be interesting. Yeah.
downfall. You get into Deflategate, Spygate, Gronkowski era, Aaron Hernandez, the Super Bowl in Arizona, just all that other stuff. It's sending it to the Senate for the Brady investigation and the FBI. It's going to be awesome.
It will be. So join us, watch. We'll be recapping it every week here. And let's, before we end this show, let's kick it over to Ethan as he gets a welcome back by giving us a curveball of the week.
Well, I've been reading a book for my community group at church. Really like it. So that made me think, who is your guys' favorite author? I almost said artist. Author.
Ooh. I have read quite a few books over the last few years. And it hasn't really all been by one certain author per se. So, and my bookshelf is covered by posters, so I can't even really look at what I have. But, I mean, if we're going way back to like elementary school when we were forced to read, you could never go wrong with some the Matt Christopher sports novels. Those were always good. Mitch Albom had 2 really good books, Tuesdays with Maury, and he did a biography about Bo Schembechler. That was a really good one. Let me
I always
look.
like Gary Paulson. About the Hatchet.
Gary Paulson had some good
Gary-
ones.
yep,
Yep.
that was a
Brian
good one.
Winter. Those were just phenomenal.
What was it? I think I read this one in like 6th grade. I don't know who the author was, but is it 4 Miles to Pinecone?
I don't know if I ever read that one.
Oh, son of a gun. But I don't know. It's hard for me to say I have a specific favorite author because of the books I've read. It hasn't been by the same individual.
Right.
You know, they've been about people or, you know, Joe Buck wrote a book, Urban Meyer did. But the one I was talking about earlier, guys, it's actually right here by Michael Hawley. It's he was the columnist for, I think it's the Boston Herald, with about Brady and Belichick and how their dynasty, got started and where it ended. And this came out in like 2016. So the most juicy part of this book, of course, was Aaron Hernandez. I'm talking about the Patriots without talking about him. And then Deflategate. So like I said, I'm pretty sure Michael Hawley here was a journalist for the Boston Herald. And he did a fantastic job about writing this book about Brady and Belichick. And then also there's another one I got into, or I got to get into here soon. Let me pull it up here. It's Ian O'Connor, and he's just got a book it's just called Belichick.
Okay. And actually, I do have a favorite author, and it's because he's been on the podcast. It's Dan Winnesota. So
there we go.
There we go.
Cheap answer, but it's a good one.
also got to say there was another series of books I've had to read when I was younger. Was it like Ethan and Dill? Was it the Magic Treehouse books? Where like
Yeah, those are great.
yeah, I do remember all of those when we were younger.
Or the guy who wrote the Hardy Boys. I can't think of who was that.
I have no idea.
I got nothing there.
I got to go
Okay.
with John Eldridge though. This is the book we're reading for church right now, Fathered by God. Just talks about the masculinity journey, just the different stages. Honestly, like it's really good just to be able to reflect back, like on what your life was like as a kid, what in each stage to kind of, and then you also kind of see like how you're always in each stage at any given time. It's not always like a straight linear line. So it's a good one if you guys want to read it. Like I definitely suggest John Eldridge. Just bought another one of his books actually on Saturday. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, then, I suppose that wraps it up here. We'll be recapping Dynasty each 2 episodes that are released from until the completion of that. At some point, we will be we got to be talking baseball because pitchers and catchers have reported for spring training.
We are 38 days from opening day.
38 days from opening day.
Cody Bellinger's still unsigned. My prediction may stand still till may be true. I don't know.
Share with us what that prediction was here.
I said the Twins are going to sign Cody Bellinger.
They could use a clutch bat in October.
And I mean, they got Carlos Santana, but you can never have too many options at first base. He can play multiple positions, center field if Buxton goes down.
Yep.
Or he just needs a series off. He needs a day off or a series off.
I'd say screw it. Give him a deal like you did for Correa. See what happens.
Yeah. And got that. We got March Madness. We have reached the peak. We are reaching the end of the regular season. We got tournaments starting. I'll actually be going to the NDSU UND basketball game this Saturday.
That's a big one.
It is a very big one.
UND first in the Summit. I just saw that tonight.
They are.
Is that in Fargo, Dylan, or is it in Grand Forks?
It is in Fargo. It is in Fargo. NDSU.
They host St. Thomas. Is it Thursday?
Yep.
And then who's second? Right, tied for second with South Dakota State.
Yep. And yeah, they play South Dakota State next week to end the regular season. The NDSU women are playing. This is probably their best season in the Division I era right now. They are
they leading
playing
the Summit?
some of their best. What's that?
Are they leading the Summit?
They're number 2. South Dakota State's still undefeated, but they should have beat them in Fargo a couple of weeks back. But it was tied with like a minute to go, and then they just got a case of the turnovers and ended up kind of giving it away. So we got some big ones. NDSU looking to avenge a loss from earlier where they lost at the buzzer, essentially, against UND up in Grand Forks. So some revenge. I'm excited because it'll be the first time I'll actually get to be in their new basketball arena since it's been completed.
You haven't been in there?
No, because they played at my first year was at the BSA.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 years they were playing at Shields because it was under construction.
Yeah. So it is a very nice arena, but they totally effed up the seats. So very tight. That's
what I've heard. That's been the consensus because Fargo Media is making a push to get 5,000 there on Saturday. So hopefully it's going to be a raucous environment. They also screwed up by not putting the student section by the opposing team's bench like they did at the old BSA. Because that was always the BSA. It was a dump, but it got loud in there.
Dylan, it's like the Metrodome. It was a dump, but it was our dump.
Exactly.
That thing got freaking loud.
Mm-hmm.
That too, yeah. It got loud, and Dom Izzo was talking about the loudest that he's ever heard. The Shack, which is what it's called now at NDSU, is when we're for two high school games when Fargo North was playing there last year in the semifinals and the state championship game. So hopefully it can bring some good juju. Hopefully it can help the Bison get a win because in my time as a student there, I only got to watch NDSU lose at home one time.
Kennesaw State.
No, they beat Kennesaw. It was my freshman year. It was against Southern Miss. They
That's
lost
right.
to them.
Yes, that was
Interesting.
it. I knew it was a black and yellow team. I remember that game.
Because they got down by a lot at halftime and they came back and they had a couple of good shots to win it and they just had a couple shots that
Who
rimmed
was
out.
the guy that could jump out of the gym? What was his name again?
Trayvon Wright.
Trayvon. I thought I was going to say Trayvon Howard, but he absolutely baptized a guy that night. I remember that.
Yeah, he baptized a lot
of people.
He baptized a lot of people.
He should not have played in the portal era. His stock would have been whoosh.
Way up.
Oh,
He had to catch a couple lobs a game, but man, that team was fun.
Yep. I remember when they played South Dakota State. When my dad and I went to a game, I remember he baptized a dude for South Dakota State too. That basically kind of put the game out of reach and sealed it. And I remember I looked over at my dad, and I think his jaw about hit the floor. I was like, "I told you, that's what he does."
He was a human pogo stick.
Yep.
Poor guy was born 10 years too early.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty clean.
Well, we got nothing but good memories. We're happy he did stay at Bison. So that wraps up this episode of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. Check us out on all of our socials. Posting content there. 3GTV podcast, Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, rate, leave a review. And we will talk to you next week.